They step into the biggest shows with the biggest names, and sometimes they get written on or off in a moment's notice. It's time to find out all the dramatic details of what it's like to be a guest star. With your host, Pete Ferrero.
Okay, I am so excited here on Guest Star. I have Bailey Lauren Thompson.
That is that BLT, baby.
Oh, I love that. That's actually amazing.
I know, I'm very blessed.
This is incredible because a lot of people will be watching this and wonder, well, what was she a guest star on? Now, let's go back to the beginning, and I'm not going to reveal it. We're gonna let it be a thing. Were you into acting as a kid? Because you did other things other than the main thing that you did, right? So
I did. Yes, I was a child actor. So my dad was an actor and a stand-up comedian. My mom was a Broadway dancer. So I started doing commercials when I was like 2 years old up in Seattle. But I did ER, Ally McBeal. I did The Tonight Show with Jay Leno a few different times, just sketches, indie films, commercials, kind of all that stuff. Yeah, started at a really young age and then kind of took a gap in my teen years because I had braces and was a little unfortunate looking. And so my agents were like, we can't do anything with you right now, which is fine. Did kind of shifted into more theater. So I went to school actually in upstate New York, got my degree in musical theater, did the whole New York scene for a while. And yeah, moved back here and have still just kind of been trucking away at the acting gigs.
all right, let's talk about the thing that you're known for. And how did you get into the world of Curb Your Enthusiasm?
So when I was 8 years old, I had an audition for the show Curb, and in the breakdown, it had said, all improv. We need kids who can improv. And we know that's an ask, but if you have any kids that can even do a semblance of improv, send them our way. So I went and did the audition.
Now, had you done any improv ever?
Yes.
Okay, good. Okay, so you do check the box. Yeah.
Box. I have a cool story on that later. I'll touch on it later.
Okay.
But yeah, I grew up my whole life doing improv. Even in high school, I was on a competitive improv team, taking classes at UCB. You know, I love comedy. I love the comedy world. That's definitely, my wheelhouse, my safe space. So I had done improv. I had been in acting classes. I had done all this stuff literally since I was like 3 years old, which sounds crazy, but it was so normalized in my household that it just was, yeah, that's the thing you do is you take piano classes and singing lessons and acting classes. And that's just what we did. So yeah, I had done improv. I came in and the audition when I was 8 years old was literally only just have a mental breakdown, throw a temper tantrum. And I had no idea what it was about. All I was told was just throw a temper tantrum. So I did. And
now do you remember if like Larry's in the room or is
no? So Larry was not in the room. Initial audition was just casting. So I didn't know anyone. And at this point, it's season 2. So
it's not what it is now, right?
It's not. No one really knows who Larry David is at this point. We're kind of still working up. Obviously, people knew like Jeff Garlin and like Richard Lewis and those kind of names. But yeah, so I did a whole just like panic attack, basically temper tantrum. And I don't even think there was a callback. I think from that, I booked it. And so the way Curb works is even as a kid, you don't get a script. You get nothing. And they really want to negate people from like trying to plan their things ahead of time. So you don't even get a scene breakdown until the night before.
It's so wild.
As a kid, I didn't know anything different. As an adult, I was freaking out for like the 2 weeks leading up because I was
right.
Oh my God, I have no idea what I'm doing. No idea. And I'm about to be in front of all these A-listers. I was, panic attacking full mode at that point, real time panic attack. But yeah, I went to set, I did the thing and had just the best time. My parents were on set with me the whole time. People always like to ask that question. I was not forced into saying or doing anything. My parents talked about all of it.
The episode that we're talking about is the doll, and Larry comes upstairs and runs into you because he doesn't want to use the bathroom downstairs, and he comes up to you. Now, is this the first time that you met Larry David is when you're about to do the scene?
No, we did like a rehearsal, which is basically just staging of where you're going to be, where the cameras are going to be. So we had done that rehearsal, and the director, Robert E. Wade, Bob, who is still a
Very
dear friend,
cool.
he
Yeah.
is the reason all of this has now happened in the future. But he was the one kind of saying to me, just okay, sit here, brush your hair. He's going to come in, and Larry will walk in. You have an interaction. He walks out. So we did kind of a walkthrough of it. So, and I had met Larry when I first got to set. Nothing, I was kind of warned, which is so funny now, but I was warned as a kid, like, hey, Larry he's not the like friendliest person. He doesn't really, he's not going to try to schmooze you or get to know you. Like, don't take it personally. So I think I was going onto set with the expectation of like, just be quiet, sit there. This guy's going to be a madman, and it could not have been further from the case. I mean, he was the most cordial, loving, kind person. He was so supportive. He would check in with me. Like, he was fantastic. I had the best experience.
That's amazing.
Both times, like, truly. And I mean, as cliche as it sounds, like, he is his character. He is his character 1,000%, tenfold. Like, but that's what I think is so endearing about him.
Sure.
He's so true to who he is, and he says all the things that everyone wishes they could say. So
yeah. So you do the scene. He cuts the hair of the doll. I mean, is it because it is improv? So, like, you're a young actor. It's like there's no character to learn, whatever. But you're in this, right? You are like playing in a way, right? You're playing with Larry David with this doll.
Yep. I mean, I remember, and it's so funny. I don't think anyone would notice this, like, watching it back, except for myself. But like, there are moments in that first episode where I like critique myself now, and I have to remind myself, like, Bailey, you were 8 years old doing improv. Like, calm down. Like,
You were incredible. So just I don't know what your critique is, but just remove it off the table because it's not valid. I'm gonna just
I still have an actor's insecurities, right?
You were 8 and you were improvising with Larry David. It's amazing. I mean, it's so funny. Your character comes running downstairs and does have the meltdown. The meltdown is epic. Was this the big moment that they really want it to be right? Was the meltdown?
Yes. So the whole setup is pretty easy. It's just ask him to cut the doll's hair, joke with him back and forth, be really happy. And I think the one thing, like you said, there's not really a character like at that point, especially when you're that age. So I think in my mind, a lot of it was just like, you are entitled, you are rich, you get everything you want. And that's like what I had to keep in my mind. So the meltdown for me was just sheer entitlement of just, it's so funny because the whole streaming joke of this thing is that, like, Larry doesn't really do the wrong thing a lot of times. He kind of just calls out bad behavior, and then he is like, ostracized for it. And it's like, so for me, that was really, I was like, okay, I just have to be an entitled brat who like rules don't apply to. And so that was the big.
Were you this girl, an entitled brat?
Oh, absolutely not. Oh my God. I was raised with parents, man. Like, we were barefoot and like playing with rocks when I was a kid. Like, that was, don't get me wrong. I was very fortunate. I lived a very privileged, but no, that was not the kind of person I was, which was kind of what is fun about acting. It's getting to pull from a different part of you that you don't regularly tap into as like a human being. So you can just kind of pull those parts and just be like, all right, today I get to be a bitch,
Was there any other like little girl that you were around at the time and that you were like pulling from, that you knew this little girl from school or something?
So, yes, but not exactly what you'd think. This is so funny because she doesn't even know I exist at this point. My arch nemesis growing up was Dakota Fanning.
The real actress, the
real actress Dakota Fanning. We had the same agent. We went out for a ton of the same roles. We would pass by each other all the time, like at the agency, and we at the time knew who each other were. But then she just booked and booked and booked and booked and booked and booked and booked, and so our paths took very different journeys, which is fine, but it was always just a joke of mine that I said for years, like, oh yeah, Dakota Fanning, arch nemesis.
That's amazing. Yeah.
Rival in life. And I'm older, I'm curvy, I'm brunette. We are nothing alike. But growing up, like we were little kids who both, came from the backgrounds of it. And yeah, we were up against each other a lot for things.
That's amazing.
Yeah.
So this scene happens, you do the meltdown. Did everyone love it? It's amazing.
I, it's hard sometimes to think about the exact moments because it was so long ago, but
Yeah.
I do remember people continuously coming up to set and saying like, you were so great. Oh my gosh, like what else have you done? And I mean, there was one point, this will live with me forever, my whole life. Larry came up to me after filming and he had said to me, it's such a bummer we didn't find you like a year and a half ago. We wanted to write my character a child, but we didn't think that anyone your age could improv that well and be like a series regular.
Ah,
At that
God,
moment,
that would have been amazing.
what? Yeah. So like,
Yeah.
take it for what it is. That's awesome. I will happily take the compliment. But yeah, there's always going to be that little part inside of me that's like,
It could have been a thing, yeah.
yeah, exactly.
So you do this, it's great, and then there's the end scene of this episode, which is the thing that everybody remembers the most, is the hard bottle and whatnot. Tell me about shooting that.
So, it created a lot of chaos on set because there were a lot of people that were on the crew that were like, you can't do this. Do not do this. This is inappropriate. You cannot do that with that little girl. And Larry being Larry was like, oh yeah, fucking watch me. And he had spoken to my parents. My mom had totally given him the like, yep, it's good. I know what she's saying. We approve this as her legal guardians. That's okay. And I remember my mom just pulling me aside and being like, hey, so it's going to be really funny if your character as the kid makes the big adult joke. Okay. So this is the line. Just I'm giving you permission to say it. We're not going to talk about what it means, but just like this is sometimes in acting, you don't necessarily know what you're saying, but you just got to do it and be a professional. And I was like, yes, ma'am. And so we had the line, and Bob must have made me done maybe 15 to 20 takes of it, of just screaming that line. Because the first time, everyone died. Like,
Of course, right? Yeah, yeah.
Everyone was just like, oh my God, we're doing this. We're doing this. Like, and so yeah, it was just over and over and over again. And I did it. And I truthfully had zero understanding of what I was saying.
I was
Like,
going to ask you, did you know what the joke meant?
no, absolutely not.
It's probably for the best. Yeah.
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 Okay, but then like 5 years later or something, I finally like realized what the joke meant. And at that point, I was a 13-year-old girl. And I was just like mortified in my bedroom of just like, and hindsight's 2020. I'm so stoked about it because it really is just like an iconic part of the series. So I'm very, very fortunate I got to be a part of that. But yeah, no understanding of what I was doing. Was just I was being an actor and showing up on set and doing my part.
It's like it's probably the most iconic, I think. Did you get recognized for this initially?
No, not really. I don't know if that was part of, the viewership at that point,
Yeah.
or if it was mostly an adult audience. So adult people weren't going to come up to me and be like, oh, boner joke.
Right.
I think maybe that's probably why, but I got a lot of recognition in my elementary school. So that was very fun. All my friends knew that I was shooting things. And so that was cool. But like,
Well,
no, never really.
so nobody has ever, what is it like when you tell someone, as you're getting older, right? I mean, you're stunning. So and now you're meeting people and you're like, oh, where do I know you from? You seem familiar or some of this shit, right? And it's like,
Yeah, I've
I
gotten it.
was in this episode of this show, right? Yeah.
So normally if the topic of Curb comes up organically or whatever, I'll just mention like, oh yeah, I was on it when I was a kid. And then I'll tell people, and 9 out of 10 times everyone goes, what? You're the little girl, and freaks out. There was one time though, and this was super weird to me and kind of still is. There's one time I was at my serving job and there was like a group of 3 guys sitting at a table. And this is 2018. So I'm 25, 26 at this point. This guy is like, I know you. I know you from somewhere. And I was like,
I mean, it's really hard because you don't look like the little girl.
no, exactly. And
You know?
this guy recognized me as the little girl version of me. And as an adult was like, he finally put the pieces together and he was like, are you an actor? And I was like, I was as a kid. He goes, I got it. Curb Your Enthusiasm. And I was like, what?
That's
like,
impressive.
What? I was more impressed by him. I was like, that is wild that he knew that. I got recognized for the very first time actually yesterday. That was pretty fun.
Yes.
Someone came up to me and they were like, I know you.
You just saw me.
You know, she asked a few questions. She was like, are you an influencer? Do you do makeup? I was like, oh no, that's on me, girl. I buy makeup. I'm not good at that shit. But eventually got there.
So, but then you stopped acting. You did this, and I'm sure people wanted to cast you in other things at that point, right? Because of this improv ability that you had.
Yes and no.
It's a hard industry.
It's a very hard industry. You never know what they're looking for. That's kind of the biggest thing. And I think the biggest piece of advice for anyone going into acting is like, stop trying to be what they want and just bring yourself. And if you're what's right, you'll get it. But if you're constantly trying to like be someone else, you're not going to be as successful. And I think that was the trap I kind of fell into when I was in my early 20s, was like I still hadn't fully understood that concept. So I still was kind of acting on my own insecurities and projections and things. So I wasn't booking as much because I felt like I had kind of a gap in between actor Bailey and real Bailey, and I was having a hard time bridging that. So I took a little time away from it just because I'd been doing it since I was 3. I'd been doing it for 25 years. I got a cool opportunity to work as a manager in a fancy luxury hotel, you know, fine dining, hospitality. So I went into that.
Was that in New York? Was that in New York?
No, that was actually in Los Angeles.
Okay, yeah.
Post-pandemic. Because I kind of stepped away from the industry in like 2016 was when I stepped away and was like, I'm just going to focus on other things. I'm also a musician. So I was like, I'm going to focus more on singing gigs and trying to do that right now and kind of just take a little step away from acting just to give myself some breathing room. And then, yeah, I'm just such a believer in, you know, karma and serendipity and the universe just bringing things to you when they're supposed to happen. So I was itching to get back, but I was fearful of kind of getting back in the industry after, you know, years and years of dealing with the rejection and security. And I was a GM at a brew house at the time. And I get a text message or a Facebook message from my high school improv coach. I've not spoken to him in 15 years. His name is Cinco Paul. He's very successful. He's the writer of Despicable Me, Bubble Boy, Schmigadoon, incredibly talented man. And he messaged me like, hey, I don't know if you remember, but Robert E. Wade directed you in Curb. He just messaged me because he saw we're mutual friends. He's trying to get in contact with you.
Oh my God.
Yeah.
First of all, you need to update your IMDb. Okay. Let's get it together, Bailey.
I know. I'm bad with organizational things.
Okay.
ADHD.
Wait, so now you knew the season was coming, the ending, the finale. You knew that they were wrapping up. I'm sure do you watch the show? Did you keep in the idea that was happening? So was there ever a party that was like, maybe they'll bring me back for something?
So not to give myself too many props, I can literally send you the text message because I have it. I did an event in 2022 with Larry David at the Greek Theater, and it was a part of Netflix as a joke. That's what Robert was initially reaching out to me for, was, hey, can you come to this event and surprise Larry on stage? We're going to surprise the fans, say your line, do a little talk back, and then go home. Great.
This is amazing. This is amazing that this happened.
Yeah. This is the only reason it happened. I owe everything to Bob, truly. he brings me back. We do the show at the Greek. I hang out with Larry and Bob backstage for a little bit after, just kind of shooting the shit. And then the next day, I texted Bob. And again, this is 2022. Like, production has not started. Nothing has started for the final season. I texted Bob and I said, thank you so much for having me. This was incredible. This was life-changing. P.S. If you ever want to bring back a tormented Tara Michelson to seek revenge on Larry, you know where to find me.
You're a genius.
I think I manifested it. I
think
put
you
this
did. Yeah.
in place.
Yeah.
So I had made that joke for literally 10, 15 years, even prior to all of this. I had said for years, it would be so funny if they brought back my character as an adult and she had been through therapy and all this shit and she's just tortured because of this interaction. I just thought it'd be so funny. Jokingly told people all the time, 10 years, start the petition, bring back the little girl, like totally as a joke. And look what happened. It happened.
So, is that on, can you see that thing that you did on Netflix, or that was just
No.
that was a local event, right?
Yeah.
It wasn't televised.
It was at the Greek Theater in LA, a part of Netflix as a joke. So I know they did record it, but it's never gotten released.
That's so annoying. I would love to see that. All right. So then why did you get the call for this? How did this happen? Now you were already connected to Bob.
Yes. So I've gotten connected to Bob. I had my, reintroduction with Larry. We had our little reunion. So he remembered I existed. And truly wild. It was one day, I forget where I was. I think it was at work in this job I hated. I just was so miserable. And I was like, I need to get out of this. I need to figure out the next thing. And I got an email from Allison Jones, who is, the top comedy casting director of arguably all time. She is responsible for the careers of Paul Rudd, Seth Rogen, Jonah Hill. Like, she's incredible. I woke up to an email from her and I nearly lost my mind. And the email just said, hey, Bailey, Larry wants you to come back for the series finale as Tara. We're so excited. Let me know if you're available on these dates and if you're local to LA. And she signed it off with something like, you are hilarious, so we're really excited to have you back. And I just remember being like, no fucking way did Allison Jones just say I was funny. Like, no way did she just call me funny. And I just, got that email and I responded back and I was like, yes, when and where, I am there, no question. Like, I will make it work. And probably a month later, maybe I had my costume fitting and 4 days later we filmed. And it was,
You're in the finale of Curb Your Enthusiasm, which is so amazing. I mean, it's wild because you're in two of the biggest episodes. I think I saw that on your Instagram post, right?
Yeah.
You're in the doll, which is so epic and huge. And then the finale. What was it like to shoot the finale?
It was the best day of my life, honestly, of my adult life. Like, I went into that set with a lot of imposter syndrome just because I had taken so much time off and I was really nervous. And again, no script. So I was like, all right, we just got to fake it till we make it, like, let's just hope for the best. And maybe 20 seconds into me walking on set, and I'm by myself, just walking on set, trying to find someone to check in with, I hear from across the parking lot, hey, you're the little girl. And I look over and it's JB Smoove and he's walking over to me because I didn't work with him. He wasn't a part of the show.
That's right. Yeah.
He walked over and was like, oh my God, you're the little girl. And I was like, yeah, what's up? That's me. And he was like, we are so excited to have you back. Like, we're so stoked you're here, man. Like, can't tell you enough how happy we are. And then left and I went to my trailer and I just remember like happy crying for a moment because I just was like, I belong here. I've been doing this my entire life. I know what I'm doing. I belong here. This is going to be a kick-ass day. And it was. I mean, everyone set the scene, like Susie and Jeff. Same thing when I did my walkthrough. Both of them went, holy shit, it's actually you. You're the little girl. Also very odd as an adult woman to constantly be referred to as the little girl. Right. But it's okay. We're going with it.
Right. I love it. Yeah.
But yeah, it really was wonderful. And like Larry was so kind with his words too. And his assistant Laura is the best also. She does such a good job of just making that that whole set feel really inviting and really welcoming. Yeah,
And
it was great. Met
and
Jeff Schaffer, who was directing that episode. I had not ever worked with him before. And I think Jeff was a little trepidatious of me just because I hadn't auditioned. He had never seen me do anything. Totally get it.
fair enough. Yeah.
Totally fair. Like that makes sense. Also, this is your series finale. I totally get it.
Yeah.
So at first, I think he was kind of just, keep it short, keep it sweet, just get to the point, and we'll figure out the rest. And maybe about 30 minutes into filming, like Larry and him were talking, they both were like, it's not working. Like something's wrong. Like it's not working. And Larry to Jeff goes, just let her go. Let her go. And Jeff was like, ugh. And Larry was like, trust me, let her just go off. Just do one take of just an improvised monologue. Let her just do it. So I did. And I improvised like a 5-minute long monologue. I ended it in full tears with saying he had a hard on as I was crying. And like Greg Kinnear broke for a second, and like it just worked out well. And like the reason I bring this up is not to like pat myself on the back, but if anything, just to continue the message of like Larry has had faith in me and believed in me for so long. Like I owe so much to him and Bob, really. Like just they believed in me and let me do my thing, and like thank God that they did, and that gave me so much confidence. And I think like it worked out really well. I was really happy with the final product.
So when it wasn't working, was it they gave you some stuff to say? Is that what had happened?
Pretty much. It was kind of like, okay, say your name, and then just say where you met him, and say that, say how you've been affected. And it was just like 1, 2, 3, very short. He wanted like 1 sentence answers.
That's not going to work.
So that's why it didn't work. And again,
Yeah.
I understand it because he didn't want to just free reign this random improv girl, because who knows how that could have turned out.
Totally.
I could have gone on and on and on trying to do bits and rants and, whatever. So I totally understand why it worked that way, and honestly respect that it did. But yeah, just Larry being like, let her go, just let her go was the phrase he said. And yeah, just like I think in that moment too, like that boost of confidence from such a freaking genius icon, I was like, right, all right, we're good, let's do it, bring it on.
And I mean, you rocked it, like you said. I mean, it comes across so great, and it's so funny. It's the moment that I mean, all the other characters that kind of get an opportunity to do this. It's amazing. But you're the one that's like, holy shit, they even have her. And then I wondered if you were the same person. You know what I mean? Because sometimes they could have just totally recasted that, but you are the same person. This makes it even more amazing.
There are many wars on Reddit right now about if that's me or not.
It's you. Yeah.
Hilarious. And there's a few people that they're like, no, like it's on IMDb, watch the credits. They're like, nah, it doesn't look like her. It's not her.
Yeah, it's totally you.
Totally me.
So how has this reaction been with your friends and whatnot?
It's been really great. I mean, I'm so fortunate that I have really, really awesome, supportive, loving friends, most of which are not a part of the industry at all. So for them, like, I think it's really cool. Yeah, we had like a little viewing party on Sunday. I had some of my close friends over, just had some wine, watched it. I brought the doll. I
was
actually
going to ask you, you have the doll.
I had her prepared just in case.
Oh my God, this is so amazing. It's Judy. Yeah.
It's Judy. I still have Judy. She is pre-haircut. It's when she was fixed. But yeah,
man.
I have the Judy doll, which is pretty crazy. Held on to that for so many years.
That is so dope. Yeah, they gave that to you.
Yeah. I mean, so when we were filming it, like not to ruin the movie magic, but like there was an entire bathroom of Judy dolls. Like an entire, like 50 backup Judy dolls, like
right,
just in case, and so I think at the end, I don't remember if I asked for one. I probably did, but they were like, sure, here you go, take a doll.
No, that's awesome. That's very cool.
It's cool. And she's still in mint condition. I've taken very good care of her.
You said that you got someone recognized you yesterday.
Mm-hmm.
How did this play out?
I was at work. I currently bartend, so I was bartending, and this woman sat down and she just was staring at me. And, normally that doesn't happen. Normally people will like look up or whatever if they need something, but I could see she was just looking at me. So at one point I just asked her if she was good. And she was like, I know you. I know you from somewhere. She was like, are you an influencer? I said, no, I'm not. She's like, are you sure? What's your name? I said, my name is Bailey. She goes, I follow an influencer named Bailey who does like makeup and horror films. I was like, I actually know who you're talking about, but that is not me. I was like, she's rad. She's also gorgeous. So thank you. But that is me. She's like, I just can't place it. I know you from somewhere. She goes, can I have your Instagram? And I was like, sure. I gave her my Instagram. And the way this woman shrieked in the middle of a restaurant, she found my Instagram. She goes, I knew it was you. And I was like, she was like, Larry David. And that's all she said was Larry David is what she kept saying. And I was like, yeah, totally. Yeah, I mean, I don't expect to get recognized. Like, it's such a silly thing, but I mean, it's been fun just like to see the response on social media, to see like articles that have been written are really cool.
Yeah.
Like, there was an article came out that was like rating the 10 guest stars from the finale episode. And
I just saw that. Yeah, I just saw that.
Bruce Springsteen.
Yeah. Yeah, it was cooler than Bruce. It was cooler.
That man, let alone rated higher than him. Like that is, I gotta put that out and frame it.
It was so amazing. What is next? Are you gonna try to go full throttle? Are you gonna try to get back into this? You think you need to get back into this?
I really want to. I think the next thing now, it's been a little hard post-strike and with everything going on in the industry right now. I'm just trying to currently find representation to get a new agent or a manager because I didn't have one when I booked this. So I'm hoping it should be pretty easy with my list, my resume and people I've worked with and things. But it's a hard industry. You don't know what people want. Some people who are very incredibly talented who have worked forever still have trouble finding representation. So that's a plan. I'm going to get back into improv classes too at UCB and try to get into some of those teams just to meet more people and just kind of keep the juices flowing of all of it. But yeah, I think this was really a catalyst moment for me of like, I'm glad I took that time for myself and I'm glad I got to step away for it because I needed that. And now I'm able to kind of go back into this industry with a different mindset too, and just having a different relationship with myself, which I think will be very helpful. So yeah, I mean, that's definitely the goal. I'm trying to manifest the next thing now, which is work with Jeff Schaefer again. He does Dave, which is one of my favorite shows. So
okay, yeah.
But in the universe now, they need a tattooed little bartender in Dave.
Okay, let's make that happen. Let's make that a thing.
Jeff Schaefer, listen up.
What's incredible about you is that you obviously have this incredible talent to be an improver at how old were you? 8 years old, 9 years old? To be able to do that and deliver is huge. And then to come back all these years later in your head, all of it, and deliver again, what based on what you did is really incredible. So you're meant for this. You have to keep going for this.
I do. And I think, an important part, especially within this industry, is being in tune with yourself. So I think now by taking that time away, I've just set myself up for success to get back into this. So I'm really trying to, make this an opportunity for myself too, and kind of try to ride this wave and this momentum. And yeah, get back into some productions because there's nothing like that feeling of being on set and even the long hours. It's just magical. And it's something that I absolutely love doing. And I think sometimes when you make a passion a career, there are cons that come with it. But if you learn how to deal with those and cope with those and manage them, then you're just setting yourself up for a different mindset going into the industry. So that's really what I'm trying to do now is just harness that, harness the confidence and the knowledge that I know what I'm doing. I've been doing this forever. And
you're uncurbed. You know what I mean? It's like, if you can do this in that universe, you can do this in any universe.
That's what I'm
yeah.
Yeah, no, I appreciate that so much. That means a lot to me. Thank you.
Of course. All right. This has been great having you here. Can anyone follow you? Can they follow you on your Instagram? Do you mind that? Yeah.
I would love that. My Instagram is at Bailey Lauren Thompson, just my full name there. Again, BLT forever. I'm public, so I make it very easy to stalk me.
Yeah.
That's really it. I don't have a TikTok. I'm late
No,
to
that's
the
okay. You don't need that. Yeah.
I don't for any of that stuff, but I do have my Instagram. So come on over and follow. Join on the journey to see what this opportunity hopefully brings.
Amazing. Well, thank you so much for being here. I totally appreciate it. Good luck with everything else. You're going to
Thank you.
be a huge star again. I can't wait to see it all
Oh,
play
well,
out.
appreciate ya. We'll have to do it again another time.
Absolutely, for sure. All right.
Cool.
Thank you so much. All right.
Have a good